Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're unpacking one of the most fascinating and, frankly, just absolutely exhausting biological glitches of our modern lives. We're talking about this crazy evolutionary mismatch that's basically fueling our current epidemic of burnout. So, if you've ever felt completely wiped out after a day of literally just sitting at a desk doing nothing physical, well, you're definitely in the right place. Let's figure out exactly why everything feels like a massive emergency and why you are just so utterly tired.
Why does a 20 kilobyte email make your heart race like you're being chased by a 400-pound lion? I mean, seriously, picture this. It's 8 p.m., you're chilling on your couch in the living room, you are completely 100% safe. Nothing around you is attacking you, but then suddenly, your phone lights up with a loud ding and that little red notification badge pops up. It's an email from your boss, and instantly, your entire body just freezes. You know exactly what happens next, right? Sweaty palms, racing pulse, that awful tight knot in your stomach. Maybe your blood pressure even spikes and your pupils dilate. It is this incredibly intense physical reaction, and yet it's triggered not by a predator but by glowing pixels on a screen. Here's the wild, totally counterintuitive twist. Your body is literally, physically preparing you to enter mortal combat with a wild beast or, sprint for your life, all while you're just sitting comfortably on a soft cushion in your favorite sweatpants. When you really think about it, it's completely absurd.
To understand why this happens, we really need to talk about the number 16. You see, for 99% of human history, our physiological stress control center, the sympathetic nervous system, was only activated for a few intense minutes a week. Literally, just a few minutes. But today, for the average modern human, that system stays turned on for up to 16 hours a day. Basically, we've taken an emergency backup generator and somehow made it our primary power source.
Section 1. Your prehistoric survival engine.
So, to really grasp this glitch, we have to look back at the brilliant evolutionary hardware that kept our early human ancestors alive in the wild. Early humans evolved this absolutely magnificent survival mechanism called the HPA axis. That stands for the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. Think of this as your brain's ultimate built-in emergency survival system. When an early human hunter in a prehistoric forest stumbled across a massive predator, the brain's amygdala sounded a huge internal alarm. It sent emergency signals shooting straight down the spinal cord, instantly flooding the bloodstream with adrenaline and cortisol. It's a very specific chemical cocktail designed for exactly one thing: explosive physical action. Now, what is really fascinating about this is the intense physical trade-off your body makes. To survive an attack, it temporarily shuts down all non-essential functions. Digestion stops. Immune response paused. Long-term cellular repair and tissue growth are just completely halted. And it makes sense, right? You don't need to digest your lunch if you are about to be lunch. Instead, all of that precious energy is desperately redirected to your skeletal muscles, your heart, and your lungs for immediate reflexes and fight or flight readiness. Basically, you are sacrificing your long-term health for immediate, split-second physical survival. In that prehistoric world, this whole stress cycle was acute, it was physical, and crucially, it was clear and complete. The whole thing lasted maybe 5 to 10 minutes. You either ran away, you fought off the predator, or, well, you got eaten. But if you survived, that massive physical exertion burned off all those stress hormones. Your heart rate dropped right back down, and your body immediately returned to homeostasis, that nice rest and digest phase. The threat was gone, and your body actually knew it.
Section 2. The digital era glitch.
But then, of course, everything changed. We completely shifted away from physical dangers to these endless, abstract threats. To really wrap your head around the sheer scale of this shift, just look at our timeline. Around 200,000 BC, we were out in prehistoric forests. The threats were acute and very physical. Think sharp teeth and dangerous weather. Fast forward all the way to the 1800s, and the Industrial Revolution completely separates danger from physical reality. Suddenly, threats weren't predators anymore. They became abstract concepts dictated by the industrial clock tower. Things like time management, job security, and financial debt. And then, we hit the 2000s, the digital acceleration. Our 24/7 smart devices completely removed any natural physical boundaries of the day, just drowning us in endless symbolic threats. So the crucial point here is what we call the glitch. Your highly evolved brain literally cannot distinguish between a physical threat, like a lion charging right at you, and a symbolic threat, like a passive-aggressive email, a plunging stock portfolio, or a breaking news ticker. To your biology, they are exactly the same. Both of them activate the exact same biological panic button. And this is what keeps us hopelessly trapped in what stress research pioneer Hans Selye defined as general adaptation syndrome, or GAS. It's this foundational model that explains how chronic stress shifts our bodies from an initial state of alarm into a prolonged state of resistance and then ultimately right into total exhaustion. Because our modern threats are abstract and continuous, you can't exactly sprint away from an email to burn off those hormones. So the cortisol and adrenaline just sit there, trapped in your bloodstream indefinitely. We end up completely stuck in the loop.
Section 3. The price of chronic stress. So what actually happens when you run your evolutionary engine on red line for months or even years at a time? Well, it looks a lot like a car engine, glowing hot and smoking. That temporary shutdown of your body's repair systems actually becomes permanent, leading to these cascading system failures. We see digestive breakdown, like IBS and stomach issues, simply because your body repeatedly halts digestion to prepare for a fight. Your immune system gets suppressed because your long-term cellular defense is being starved of energy, which, by the way, is exactly why you catch colds so easily when you're overwhelmed. This chronic stress even alters your brain architecture. It actually shrinks the prefrontal cortex. That's the area responsible for decision-making and logic, while enlarging the amygdala, your center for fear and emotional reactivity. It creates this incredibly cruel burnout paradox, where we're perpetually exhausted yet completely unable to sleep, all because our nervous system genuinely believes we are still surrounded by predators. Dr. Robert Sapolsky from Stanford University, he's the author of the landmark book Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, really sums this up perfectly. He points out that primates and humans suffer from stress-related diseases because we activate the stress response for purely psychological reasons. I mean, think about it. A zebra doesn't sit around stressing about a lion that might attack next Tuesday, but we do. We stress about the future constantly, and our physical bodies absolutely pay the price.
Section 4. Completing the stress cycle. Let's move to this next part and see how this all builds into a real science-backed physiological hack to finally beat modern burnout. Because here is the absolute most important philosophical takeaway of this entire explainer. You cannot think your way out of a physiological stress response. Logic alone is simply not enough to calm down an amygdala that genuinely thinks it's being hunted. You have to speak the physical language of your primal brain. Basically, you have to physically signal safety to your biological body. Drawing on the really fantastic, evidence-based framework from Doctors Emily and Amelia Nagoski, here is exactly how we replicate that prehistoric resolution of stress to finally close that biological loop. First, you have to recognize the abstract threat for what it is, whether it's emails, the news, looming deadlines, and just acknowledge that your body is overreacting. Second, engage in physical exertion. You literally have to move your body to burn off that trapped adrenaline and cortisol, exactly like our ancestors did when they ran. And finally, use deep breathing and real-world human connection to ground yourself. A slow walk outside in nature, a really deep exhale, or even just a genuine hug with a loved one. These physical actions explicitly tell your brain, hey, the threat is gone, we survived, you can rest now. Your ancestors survived because their bodies brilliantly knew how to scream when they were in danger. And honestly, that alarm system is a gift. But if you actually want to thrive in our modern digital world, you have to ask yourself one final question. Are you teaching your body that the screen in front of you cannot bite?